Hey guys, Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. We're actually already open for business here on this New Year's Eve, and I hope you guys are going to have a great, happy New Year. Please be safe out there tonight and protect yourself. Just please do that. I want to see all of you here in 2021 and beyond. So I'm going to ask a real question here. It's not really. It's really not a question of Andy Dalton and Dak Prescott. Is it really that question that people honestly believe that the Cowboys would be better off letting go of Dak Prescott, not signing him, and thinking that Andy Dalton will be the better option? Is that really a thing? I'm going through on the Twitter. Twitter is vicious out there, and I've got a few trolls that absolutely positively hate Dak Prescott, and they're quoting literally Colin Cowherd. Colin Cowherd makes the argument that there's no difference between Andy Dalton and Dak Prescott. That, Dak Prescott wanting more money, it's not worth it. You're better off with Andy Dalton. And I'm really wondering, do you honestly believe that the Cowboys will be a better team with Andy Dalton? Because I tell you what, let's listen to what he said. I actually have the perfect, the perfect person who will counteract exactly what he's saying and let you know that you've been flim-flammed. You've been led astray. You've been run amok. You've been lied to. You've been bamboozled. You've been had. But anyway, let's listen to here, because this is what the trolls are coming at me with, okay? It is Colin Cowherd's argument. Here we go.
Times I'm wrong. But I will remind you of both every Monday, second hour of the show. I'll remind you when I'm right. I'll remind you when I'm wrong.
Uh-huh. Here we go.
I think you all owe me an apology.
No, hell no.
I'll get into it later. So when Andy Dalton came to the Dallas Cowboys, I said he'll be the best backup in the league. He's a great backup. Mm-hmm. And you can start him occasionally and win games. And I said the gap between him and Dak, and not very big. That was met with outrage. And I came out and I said, let's go to their first 4 years when both Dalton and Dak had good offensive lines and good support. And when I threw up the numbers, I won't read them all for our radio audience, but you can see them here on the screen. They're virtually identical quarterbacks. I mean, now it should be noted, Dalton played in a more run-centric league, Dak in a little pass-happy league, so Dak's completion percentage higher. Same guy. And I've always said, Dalton throws a better ball, Dak's a better athlete. And I like Dak more than Dalton, but it ain't that big. So Dalton comes to Dallas. Now, this has been a weird year. No preseason. This has been hard for rookies, for free agents. It's not really fair to judge anybody in September and October, right? We've said this about the draft. I mean, there was no games. So, and also the Cowboys had a new staff. Andy Dalton got a concussion. Then there was COVID. So I don't think it's really fair to judge Andy Dalton early in the year. Even though Dak went 1-3 to start, in the fifth game, they're playing the Giants. Dak gets hurt. Dalton comes in, and if you recall, led them to a win. So for a week, you were like, Colin, I hate to admit it, you're kind of right. But then it unraveled. Then concussion for Dalton. Didn't. He got COVID. The Cowboys went to backups on backups. Then they had a bye in week 10. And I think that's fair to say. It was 10 straight practices. The chaos ended. I mean, there was at one point we didn't even know. We thought the team was bailing on their defensive coordinator. That was a big narrative on this show and every show, every network. Like, the players are quitting. But then they had the bye, and byes generally, everybody gathers around. 10 straight practices. It's like a little bit of a preseason without a preseason. Andy Dalton since then, since the bye, 6 games, 4-2, 67% completion percentage, 13 TDs, 4 picks, passer rating of 102. Oh, my friends, that's Dak. Let me ask you right now, if the Cowboys win Sunday, 7-9, they're a playoff team. Dak started 1-3 and was trailing. If he would have played no Dalton, just sitting on the bench, Andy playing Dak, what do you think? They're 8-8? I mean, they ain't 12-4. They're not 11-5. You watch their defense.
Okay, so let me clarify a little bit here. So let me make sure I get this straight. Because you first go on and say, well, Andy Dalton had the bye week and stuff, that had the concussion. I dare say that the concussion and the COVID, he got better than before, because when he was coming in fresh and healthy, it wasn't so good. And the thing that's interesting is how Colin Cowherd ends up selectively picking things. I'm trying to understand why he picks the last 6 games. Okay, I guess he says because since the bye week. But you really have to look at things. You can't look at things from the totality of just a little window. You can't. Because if you do, that's not the totality of what the person is doing. You got to take the good and the bad. He goes through when he compared Dak Prescott to Carson Wentz. Well, I usually throw out the first season because, that's the rookie season and it's bad. Well, it wasn't bad for Dak. But you got to look at the whole season in totality. And you also have to look at situations. Part of the thing that helps a quarterback is when you can run the football. When there's consistency on the offensive line. Remember how our offensive line constantly changed? We had a undrafted rookie free agent starting his first couple of games for Dak Prescott. We had Tyron Smith trying to give it a go and not going. We had, Steele go in there. We had a rookie and badass. We actually had every week a dramatically different offensive line. We started out with Joe Looney. We went to Tyler Badass. We had Zach Martin going, from guard to tackle in a game. We had so much upheaval in the offensive line. The offensive line, I'm not going to say is great, but they've been consistent in having the same starting offensive line for the last couple of weeks, which has helped. And through that, you've now seen your running backs being able to run the football. Somebody had said, well, Dak choked against the Eagles. Well, I dare say that it was not just Dak Prescott. And this is the thing that's kind of funny, because if it's only about the quarterback, if you only win and lose about the quarterback, then how do you explain Cincinnati with Andy Dalton his last 4 years, where they were 20-35? How do you explain the 0-4 playoff record? And I'm not here, I don't want to trash Andy Dalton. I'm thankful that we have Andy Dalton. I'm happy what he's doing. If we end up making the playoffs and get a victory, hey, shout out to Andy Dalton. It'll be his first playoff victory in his career. But to go through and say Andy Dalton is the guy, he's a better quarterback, it's kind of ridiculous. And I will give you a different take on Andy Dalton, okay? So, I want to give equal time here, so I want to give somebody else an opportunity to go ahead and tell us about Andy Dalton and what he's doing, okay? So let's do that, okay? Fair and equal time here. Here we go. Oh, damn. I get it. Okay. What the? It's okay. Colin Cowherd's got to get paid too. It'll be coming. It's coming. Boom.
I'm getting all these tweets.
Yeah. Here we go. Colin.
Bengals are 4-0. It's time to give quarterback Andy Dalton some credit. He has arrived. 9 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's got the number 2 NFL quarterback rating, Colin. Let's be honest now. He has done what? The exact same thing he's done for 4 years.
Oh, wait a minute.
Have you ever looked at the passer rating of Andy Dalton in September in his career? 96. October 88. November 80. January 59.5. Andy Dalton is the classic mistake even NFL general managers make, where they watch a player, and because he's surrounded by great talent, it elevates his game. One of the top 5 O-lines in the NFL, according to SI.com. An all-star Pro Bowl level tight end and a running game that's 8th in the NFL. The Bengals also, and a lot of people don't know about this stat, they lead the NFL in field position. Andy Dalton doesn't start at the 8, the 12, like Andrew Luck does.
You mean like we did last year all the time?
If you have a bad defense, you often start inside the 25. Limit your playbook.
Andy
Dalton,
wait.
on average, is drop.
Wait a minute. You mean a defense makes the offensive player better? So you mean when the Dallas Cowboys defense was giving up 34 points a game, the worst in the NFL, and not taking away the football, you mean that hurt the quarterback? You mean that? Oh, wow. Okay, go on.
At the 35-yard line, best in the NFL. You can use the entire playbook. You're not pinched. You can run any route. You don't drop into your end zone. Conversely, Indianapolis, 24-yard line. You ever watch a Colts game? Ever noticed how pin deep Andrew Luck is? That's because the defense relinquishes field position. This is a classic example. If you're a guy and you're average looking, most people are kind of just normal, right? And you hang around guys that are less attractive, makes you look better. More attractive makes you look worse. But you look the same. You're surrounded by people who have elevated or diminished your appearance. Andy Dalton is what Andy Dalton is. Arm talent average, mobility average, accuracy okay. Leadership, Drew Brees. Here's the difference between Drew Brees. I would run through a wall for Drew Brees. I'm not sure they'd spackle a wall for Andy Dalton.
Oh,
okay,
damn.
So don't get caught up in taking a quarterback and then changing your opinion based on circumstances or surrounding people.
Wow.
Arm, mobility, accuracy, size, meh. Cincinnati just got a loaded repertoire of weapons around him, which is what I've always said has made Tom Brady great. Brett Favre had how many Pro Bowlers in his career on offense? 2? Brett Favre was a talent. You can't just look at his record. What do you have to work with? Frankly, what did Favre work with in most of his career? Not a lot.
Not a lot.
He didn't have a lot of great players around him. Andy Dalton's got an all-star unit around him. Look at the 1 year Tom Brady had Randy Moss. Go look at the touchdowns. What do you throw, 54? On average, he's got Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola. Andy Dalton, as Dennis Green would say, he is who we thought he was. He's okay.
Okay. Andy Dalton is who we thought he was. He's just okay. But now, he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So you could, I guess you could take this 2 ways. You could say that he's just trying to trash Dak Prescott like he always has, because we know that Carson Wentz is his boy. Carson Wentz, he will constantly prop up. The same things that he will kill Dak Prescott for, he will praise Carson Wentz for. But I guess that's just the way it is with some of these guys out there. But to take this and run with it and think that this guy has credibility, I'm sorry, buddy. He just told you everything that he just praised Andy Dalton for, he trashed him for and said it's about the circumstances. Understand, when Dak was playing and we lost those early games, our defense was atrocious. We had our leader on the defense was saying we're soft. We had guys saying, literally, Woods, nobody gives full effort. We had guys who were here that weren't doing anything. We couldn't buy a takeaway. Zeke Elliott, we said, man, that guy's got to go. Offensive line, destroyed. Now, these things are better than they were. I'm not saying the defense is great now, but the defense taking the football away is changing the field position. So, Colin, come on, man. Admit it. You're like an ambulance chaser. You're just trying to stir some shit up. I'll catch you guys later, and we's going to keep it real right here.